Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Reach out and email me directly for pricing. My email is tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Made in 4-dial variants in 15 pieces each in stainless steel for 2020, this is the Moser Cie MB&F collaboration known as the Endeavour Cylindrical Tourbillon, a combination of Moser and MB&F. You can see the genetic traits of each brand in the style of this watch. You have MB&F's extravagant legacy machine dial architecture designed to evoke bygone times, but in a modern wristwatch paradigm, and then the lush Endeavour case of Moser Cie with their precision engineering, cylindrical hairspring, balance, escapement, and underlying running gear. And that is the combination you get here. This is the off-white dial, again in steel, one of 15 made in this dial color. A watch that won the Audacity Prize at the GPHG in 2020. It is a laureate of that August award. Now the timepiece is 42 millimeters in diameter, and you can see it's 19.8 millimeters thick, almost like a Corum bubble because it is so dramatically arced and cambered over the top. So much takes place underneath the sapphire, but above the dial. It's 48.2 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Now you do wear the watch with the dial facing you like so, although I've proposed in the past that you could also set the time exactly opposite, wear it upside down, tilt it to see the time on your wrist, and then enjoy the tourbillon as your primary view. Depending on which wrist you use, you can actually set it and wear it both ways. Conventionally worn, the crown will be on the 9 o'clock side of the watch. And on my wrist of 16 centimeters circumference, you can see how it sits. It's not excessively broad across the wrist, and because of the curvature of the lugs, you can see how it wraps well. I would say, despite being a 42, you could still wear this watch on a wrist of 14 centimeters circumference. There you can see the clearance issues that are inherent in a watch this thick, and you're going to have some trouble with dress cuffs. That said, it is a fairly elegant watch, and it wouldn't look out of place hiding outside of your formal attire. Taking a quick look at the hardware and the software, you can see the strap, large rectangular scale alligator leather, semi-gloss, monotone stitch. You've got a sheer cut on the side, so it shows you the layers of construction. It's a fairly thin, minimally bolstered strap with black calfskin on the bottom. You can see it is a brand new Moser factory strap. MB&F taking care of some aspects of the design, but some of the nuts and bolts elements are Moser, including their strap design. We have a deploying clasp here, something rarely seen on Moser watch. It is a full deploying clasp. Now what happens is you press both the triggers. There's a swing arm that doubles as the spring for the twin trigger release. We have double deployant action, and you can see it is a double to better close around a small wrist without pinching. I find the one big up and over fold of a single fold deployant can sometimes pinch a smaller wrist, so this is a better solution. As you can see, the steel clasp is in high polish and handsomely executed, providing you with protection against dropping your watch while you are donning or removing it at bedside. The case is almost entirely of high polish, with the exception of the vertically set and finished midsections on both sides. That's characteristic of the Endeavour cases. Now, whereas the dial layout is very much legacy machine, the case is very much Moser Endeavour. You can see that in the elongated bezel, which is concave all the way around but expands broader at 12 and at 6 o'clock, almost as though it were drawn out while molten. Moser machines and then hand finishes its cases. It doesn't use mass-produced stamping, and that's how it creates these incredibly deep concave hollows, mirror polished on the case flank, machining and then hand finishing. You can see there is a conical and sharply knurled Moser branded crown. Then we get around to the dial side, and this is where the watch more closely resembles MB&F products. Since 2011, the legacy machines have defined the aesthetic of what Max Buser calls a MB&F watch had MB&F been making watches in the late 19th century. So we have that look, a little bit of a vintage pocket watch dial, but this one is decidedly more progressive, as we have a canted 45-degree angle, including bevel gears to transfer the action of the drivetrain into the two hands. The hands, as you can see, are blued, and they're also loomed, and I guess we should do a quick loom shot here, because the watch does have luminescent material on the dial, both for the time and the logo. You can also see that we have this crystalline disc that floats, gossamer and weightless above the dial. You can also see the underlying mechanism, a series of upright and canted bridges, beautifully satinated and beveled at the same time. All screw heads are mirror polished, and then we get to what we can describe as one of the most distinct Moser contributions to the dial, a fume fade. So you can see it's bright silver at center, silver white, but then it becomes a darker off-white, almost gray at the edge. That gradient fade is a Moser signature, and then believe it or not, so is the cylindrical hairspring. Moser is a major supplier to the high horology watchmaking industry, where regulators, escapements, hairsprings, and balances are concerned. And Precision Engineering has, prior to this collaboration, supplied hairsprings to MB&F. It's a flying tourbillon, so you can see there's no upper bridge to block your view of the tourbillon, and the cage itself is incredibly tall to accommodate the marine chronometer style cylindrical hairspring. So the cylindrical hairspring, which you can see includes overcoils, is designed to be this way for the same reason it was used on marine chronometers. Nothing better centers the mass and breathes more concentrically at any angle when dealing with hairsprings than a cylindrical profile with overcoils. And using those overcoils with the cylindrical profile gets the mass as center to the pivot of the balance as physically possible. The point here is that in any position, because the hairspring has centered mass, it will breathe concentrically and keep equally good time in any position. You could see it's a free sprung balance too, so all the adjustments are made using variable inertia or variable polar moment bolts on the balance itself. You can see the stud holder is a swan's neck style with a stud in black polish. It is a good looking structure. You can see it features a combination of satination and then mirror beveling. It's a 1-minute tourbillon, beating away at 21,600 vibrations per hour. You can see the base of the flying tourbillon is supported on ceramic bearings for low friction and long wearing durability. We have a bidirectional winding Paul-based magic lever winding system for this HMC 810 automatic caliber. It has a 72-hour power reserve, and you can see some nods to antiquity, including the 3/4 style of the bridge, a nod to pocket watches, along with the pivot jewel for the barrel arbor set in a golden chaton and then fixed by black polished screws, another nod to pocket watches. There are 4 separate finishes on the rotor, and then we have these unique double-crested Côte de Genève that are a signature of Moser. And all of this 30 meters water resistant, so it's perhaps sporty for a dress complication, but it's not truly a submersible sports watch. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.